Hello everyone and welcome to Retail Archaeology. Today we'll be taking a look at the shops at Carlsbad. Now the day I was here it was very rainy, so we'll take a quick look outside. This is the JCPenney, which was an original anchor to the mall when it opened in 1969. And here is one of two of the Macys this mall has, which is weird. We'll get into that in a little bit. And then here is the Sears, which is now closed. This was added during the mall's first expansion in 1979. As the name suggests, the shops at Carlsbad is located in Carlsbad, California. During the 51 years this mall has been around, it has had several names. It was originally named the Plaza Camino Real, and then went by Westfield Shopping Town Plaza Camino Real, Westfield Plaza Camino Real, and Westfield Carlsbad. And then eventually they settled on the shops at Carlsbad. Let's take a quick look at the map, and as you can see it's a two-level mall and it's about 1.1 million square feet of total retail space. This is a mall that's been on my radar for a while and I've gotten lots of requests from viewers to take a look at it as well. From what I've been able to gather, this mall has really struggled off and on throughout the years. There'll be some time periods where it's doing well and then other time periods where it's a dead mall and there's lots of vacancies like you can see here. A huge renovation project was completed in 2017 on this mall, and a lot of new stores and restaurants moved in, but from what I've read in reviews and things, a lot of that stuff is now closed up again and the mall is really starting to have a hard time. Now there is one of the two Macys stores here. It's very odd how they're split up. There's a Macys men and furniture store, and then the other Macys is women's things and shoes and the other stuff that Macys sells, so it's kind of weird how they've split the stores into those two categories. This is the Sears that closed back at the end of 2019, and they haven't been able to put anything in here yet. And there's something I don't see very often, an empty Spencer's storefront. This mall actually still has a Spencer's, it's just been moved to a different corridor, and that seems to have happened with a lot of businesses here. They've kind of consolidated them all down to one part of the mall, and then there's huge parts of the mall with lots of vacancies like this Sears wing. You can see it is very dead and quiet here. I do love these huge dome skylights they have though. These are over each of the major corridors of the mall and they're really awesome and they let a lot of great light in. One of the few things still open by the Sears is this huge comics and stuff store. These seem to be all over Southern California malls and this is a very, very large one. Let's take a little bit of a stroll through the mall now and see how the rest of it looks. This footage was shot at the beginning of March 2020. Before the large-scale panic started due to the recent health scare, there was a little bit of panic going on, especially in California, but a lot of stuff was still fairly busy, but this mall was very, very quiet. As I'm recording this voiceover part for the video, it's been announced that a lot of malls in the United States, I know all the Simon-owned malls, for example, will be closing their doors for at least the next month or so. So this mall will probably be closed down for good for a little while fairly soon. Which will be a shame because you won't be able to see these awesome skylights. But you can see tons of vacancies back there. If you look to the right too, you can see there's a huge... It doesn't look like a vacancy, it's got like a big piece of artwork on there telling you to shop at the shops at Carlsbad, but they've kind of done this all over the mall. They've covered the vacant storefronts up with all of these big banners and stuff, so the mall doesn't look quite as empty as it really is. On the left there's an empty Shoe Palace storefront, but again, this mall still has a Shoe Palace, it's just kind of been consolidated into one corridor with everything else. But yeah, look at the size of that banner, you could probably fit 4 or 5 stores there. This mall also has a Regal Cinemas and below it a Dave & Buster's. Regal Cinemas just announced they are shutting down all their theaters temporarily as well now though, so that one will be closed when you're watching this. Neither of them seemed very busy though. See what I mean about those awesome skylights though? Look at how bright and awesome that seating area looks down there. This was kind of neat. There was a couple of paintings here posted, so we'll take a closer look at them. This looks like some sort of sailing ship. And if we look down here, there's a little placard with the artist's name and Instagram info. So, here you go. If that was your painting, you've been immortalized in an episode of Retail Archaeology, along with this very interesting painting. take a look at the size of this Sephora. They still have the coming soon stuff up, but it is actually open now. You can see the door all the way down there on the end, but that Sephora is taking up the space of 4 or 5 stores easily. And here's the JCPenney, and I love the brick on the entryway there. You can tell that that was an original anchor from 1969. Here's some more empty storefronts, and they do an okay job of making things not seem so empty. The storefronts don't look like really ugly and closed, but you can tell if you really look at it, there's a lot of empty storefronts here. This mall, like a lot of other ones in the United States, kind of seems to be on the brink right now, and this current situation where everything is shutting down for at least a couple of weeks is not going to be good for them. I can easily see a situation where some of these malls don't ever reopen. I found this kind of neat. This is a little plaque to Fred A. Bartman, and you can see this plaque is pretty old. It bears the mall's original name there. But yeah, like I said, this worries me, all of this. I can see a lot of these malls that are already struggling not being able to come back from this. There's an FYE there on the right. I feel like I used to never see those at all, and now I'm seeing them all over the place. Yeah, you can see on the right, there's another huge chunk of where shops could be just being taken up by artwork and banners. I have to say the remodel they did here looks pretty nice. The mall's actually quite beautiful to look at, and I really did enjoy walking through it. It's just a shame that they spent all this money and it doesn't seem to have revived it much. But they've got a men's district though. I like that storefront. It's pretty cheesy, but I like that marble tile on the front of it. Here's a look at the Dave & Buster's. It's down below the movie theater. And that seemed to be a lot quieter than I'm used to Dave & Buster's being. And this mall also has the aesthetic nightmare that is Cheesecake Factory. Those things are so tacky looking. I find it pretty intriguing that this particular mall is struggling. The city that it's in, Carlsbad, is in Southern California, and it's actually the 5th richest city in California with a median household income of $105,000. Usually malls in those kind of areas are the ones that are not struggling. Also, the recent renovation that they did, they really kind of pivot towards a more luxury shopping experience, which again you think would fit in a higher income area, but for some reason, even though that's working in other markets, it doesn't seem to be working here. I did find it odd this mall does not have a food court though. Maybe that's what's hurting it. It's just got expensive restaurants. Every real mall probably should have a food court. Here's a big old Carlsbad mural along one wall again, taking up the space of where several shops could go. But if we take a look at this here, this probably accurately describes the current outlook for malls given the situation. Now here's something I've heard of but never seen before in a mall. It's a karaoke booth. Looks like you can record yourself singing, pop hits and things like that. I'm sure these kind of things are going to become less popular given the current climate. And I feel very old hearing the music in here. I can't play it for you because of copyright, but God, modern music sucks. Reading the reviews on Google for this mall is very interesting, especially if you sort them in date order, because you can see it's in waves. There'll be a bunch of reviews saying the place is dead and empty, and then you'll see a bunch of reviews saying, oh, new shops have opened up and things are looking like they're on the up and up, and then a few months later the reviews drop back down to like, oh, the place is dying, there's nothing here, things are closing, and it seems to be in that cycle right now. And it's sad because it's a very bright and inviting mall. Everybody that I interact with in stores and everything seemed very nice and friendly, and it's in a very high income area, so it's just strange to see it struggle. And unfortunately, it seems like it's really going to struggle now, and it seems questionable whether or not it can come back from that. Anyways, I'd love to hear what your memories are of the shops at Carlsbad. As always, everyone, thanks for watching. Want to see your name here? Head on over to patreon.com/retailarchaeology to find out how you can help support the channel. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out my video on the shops at Carlsbad. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and also follow out the social media links down there because that's the best way to keep up with what's going on with the channel.